we're here together.
Because I looked at some shit up and I was like,
I feel like this should have a different kind of opener since it's Black History Month.
It is Black History Month.
So I think instead of just being like it's Black History Month and saying it on an Instagram post and then just I feel like it should have a special theme almost.
I would love it. I mean, I wish I could make it like a Black History song. Like, not like in a racist way, but you know what I mean? Like, I don't know what I mean.
I'm not going to do any response to that whatsoever of what that might sound like. I won't even...
Behind the Black Experience.
Exploration ID.
And then we could do planetary history,
humanitarian acts.
Go
do anything for a day.
Volcanoes.
Knit sweaters.
We could do anything. But that's a different vibe, so I feel like that would come with different music. Like, if it was volcanoes, I'd be like, yo, let's travel. Doom, 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 doom. And it was like, just...
Same with knitting sweaters.
If we do Alaskan journeys that we talked about.
It'll be icy. It'll be more icy vibes. Cold, whatever that is.
I don't know what they listen to out there.
Yeah, we got to... Just like with Pinocchio, a wood instrument. It has to fit the vibe.
Yes, if they invite us out, we would easily go.
I'm really glad we're doing this today because we were going to try and get it out on Friday and it just didn't feel right, and we wanted to do something that wasn't just let's do something because it's Black History Month, but because it felt like this is a topic that we haven't really dove into.
To willingly do it instead of waiting for it to pop up on TV or listening to it in a song.
Yeah, where I'm not like, well, how was I supposed to know? It wasn't taught in school, or how was I supposed to know?
No one teaches you how. I mean, I don't
Look at our
remember.
Taxes. It's like none of us were taught in school. But
I don't remember
how
you were supposed to do Black History Month. I'm just saying no one ever taught you, right?
Yeah, you're like
Christmas,
it just
you're
is Black
giving
History
gifts,
Month. Yeah, right.
Events, but it's
what
like
does
Black History.
Black History Month mean?
And I think kind of like we've been talking about, it's like, is what we make it.
Right. Right, and that's what we talked about. Our unique perspective is, we talked about whether we were the most appropriate people to be talking about interracial dating because it might not come up as frequently where it's like an issue or where it looks like someone else's experience. But like you said, I think our specific experience it doesn't need to be anything other than what it is. So if we want to talk about it, it's like, this is our take.
Just realizing that this take on it is unique and someone else's take on it might be unique, but it might be similar.
Yeah.
Where it's like, oh, what? Like, I didn't know that could help in that moment. Like, we talked about it in a different way. I never realized I never factored that in to being Black or her being white.
Part of my research in the show notes was so much about hair where I am so
I love that you found that. I really love that you found that.
It was so well said. I really resonated with how she said it.
I love that you wrote the quote.
Her name is Cheyenne Taylor Jacobs, and she wrote about her hair experience, and said, inclusivity does not come from sending a mass email acknowledging Martin Luther King Jr. Day or Black History Month. It comes from doing the hard work and reflecting on your own biases and why you might innately view certain forms of personal expression as lesser than. That's such a cool way to understand it. Why someone's form of expression, like hair, how they wear their hair, is deemed lesser than. And I've heard that experience just one other time personally, where my friend Lacey was talking about her hair and where it was very similar to what this girl was talking about, where she's saying, I have to straighten it. I read facts about how many women felt like they had to change their appearance. Like 80% of Black women feel like they had to change their hair to get the job. Do you have an experience with that from, military or otherwise?
I thought it was because of military. Like, because I was in JRTC for 4 years. Like, we were doing that as teenagers, and I knew if I did the military, like, that's what you do. You would clean up. Like even now, like this look is weird to me because in the establishments that I was in, military, it's like we didn't do that, and I got used to a certain look, and that look was also called professional.
Yeah.
And so when you have, not saying like, because white guys would have beards, and yeah, that's not professional. I also think their hair is different, so it's like maybe that was easier to do, just like a woman straightening her hair. It's like black women have different coarse hair, so then they have to do something extra, even though everyone is doing work to their hair. And so I think that's why black people had shaving waivers in the military. And I was like, what? But it was looked down upon. It would be that, like, people would be upset. Why do they get that? It was because their hair is different, and it's not just black people.
What is a shaving waiver?
Where you don't have to shave every day. Some of them.
Okay, wait. So
differ.
the rule was you have to shave every day. Everyone in the military.
You have to keep a appearance. So normally people shave every day. Some people's hair grow back so quickly.
Yeah.
So yeah, but it needs to be a neat appearance by one day. If you don't shave again,
Yeah.
you just look like you got a 5 o'clock shadow on. It's like, yo, shave that.
Yeah.
Of course, that's for work.
Yeah.
But then getting out of the military, it's like, oh, this is cool growing my hair out. Like, that's a thing.
Yeah. Did it feel rebellious?
I wouldn't say rebellious, because I'm not rebelling against anything. I guess it was more freeing of, I could never do this.
Yeah.
And it never felt like I did. I would.
But it didn't feel like your skin, because of your skin color?
No, but I knew, like, even if I wasn't in the military, there was an image that wasn't the black image in my mind. Because even the Air Force is not a black image. And it's so cool seeing that black leadership get in a certain position and things do change. Like, women of color, different textures, to be honest with you. It wasn't even just black women. But it was like the rules kind of got more laxed. Some people hate that. Sometimes it's like, no, like, this is, because a lot of women just, like you said, even in dance world, just like pulling it back, and that's part of the culture. And again, that's okay.
Yeah, like if we're wearing a bun, like we're all doing it to be uniform as a group. That's just the design of the costume and the thing and the like the synchronicity of how the performance looks. If everyone's hair is wild all over the place, sometimes that is the dance. But
then now uniformity is more important than
than individuality.
The minority.
Yeah.
Because like if there was a black girl on the team, she would have to straighten her hair, which maybe difficult in the way that everyone is wearing it.
Right. If the choreography or whatever calls for straightened hair, and it takes her 3 times as long, is that fair?
And she's damaging her hair to perform,
right?
Where other girls are not experiencing that.
Right.
I don't see the reverse. Black people never set a standard of, hey, you have to have an afro to enter this place, or to work here, or this is the image that we're projecting. Normally, it is like the white image.
So you're saying none of it's right? That, like, just that idea of hair being synchronized is unacceptable.
No, not being synchronized. To set a standard that is not healthy for one versus another. I don't think that's right.
Yeah.
The uniformity, again, I served in the military, and so I get it.
No, actually, I really appreciate that, though, because you see that with dance all the time. If you have bigger bones, if you are built in this way, it's like, sorry, you don't fit in with how small everyone is.
So that's why it's cool in today's world where big women, you can still dance. You might not be doing this,
right?
And it might not look the same, but then we see those big people backflipping, and I'm like, you just got to figure out a backflip with that weight. That's it.
And if they're upset that they're like, oh, I'm not in a group because a group didn't accept me, and then they go and create something more beautiful than that.
And that's what we're trying to celebrate more.
Yeah. If you're not accepted in the group's not accepting you, it's like, go try and make it.
The world has not set up places for people like you, and that's how it feels.
Yeah.
And it could feel like that for anyone, but the fact that black people could feel that way all because of their hair.
Yes.
The petition was so cool because it was, why would that ever be a thing? But it is.
It was denied.
Yeah.
It was denied in federal court. The Crown Act, it's called. I don't know if I wrote it. Oh, yeah, okay. In December 2022, Senate Republicans blocked the Crown Act, which looked to end race-based hair discrimination on a federal level. Since then, though, 19 states have taken it upon themselves to enact their own versions of the Crown Act. I don't know exactly what that means, if there's other states that are attempting to, but
I think they
seems so obvious, yeah.
I think I think they are still working at it. I liked that Maryland was on there. I was like, of course. Yeah, places. I feel like places with black people. I feel like if it's not majority black people there, maybe it's not even a problem to the masses of like, what? Like, why would I vote for that?
I do just wonder what the concern is of, like, are people, is it fear of the unknown? Like, what is the, why not past that? What do you have an opinion?
I do.
Okay.
I do. I do.
Or do.
I think the black image back at a certain period was not a professional look. The fact that they weren't looked at more than cattle or animals at a certain point 200 years ago, then the next step is like, okay, cool, you're humans. But that's not a good image for some reason. Like, I think even the images that they were showing on TV and films did a great job of really searing in people's mind.
So you're like, it's programming and we've come a long way, but the fact that there's still resistance in some communities is not surprising.
You know, I think being fat sometimes is a bad image.
Yeah.
Where it's like, oh, why don't we see more of that? But we are. We're trying to be better. But when we watch things, does it look different? Yeah. It looks different, just like, that's because they've been shooting it like this.
Mm-hmm. That's because we've seen the other things.
And it doesn't mean because it's bad. It's just, we've just seen more of this.
Yeah.
Just like, I mean, even the shows that are predominantly black, there's no reason why people aren't watching it. But the fact that it is sometimes different than the story that we're used to just seeing on TV.
Right.
So then, I mean, yeah, and then it goes back to being different sometimes is
a bad thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like that. Even my concern with skin sometimes, where I feel it allows my insecurity with how it's like, oh, you should have this type of skin. It should be flawless and beautiful all the time. Is this image I see of actors and people programming on TV all the time, and it's
makeup,
like
CGI. Yeah,
and it's made me feel insecure enough to be like scared of pursuing certain things. And so that's, a separate tangent of just relating to feeling isolated or feeling like you're.
I don't think it is. I think it's cool because I think people feel like that.
Yeah.
When that happens.
Yeah.
Where it's like, I can't be a dancer all because of my hair.
Yeah.
I can't work at this office.
I can't do this because of my weight. I
can't be a lawyer. I can't be because they're going to ask this of me.
Or because I talk this way. I mean, talk about, you're talking about professional. You talked about black talk when you've heard people say you're talking black. Like
that was talking white.
Well.
No one ever. I've never heard. I asked.
What do you mean? And we can bleep this, but.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Like.
Yeah, that's wild.
What is your opinion on those, on hearing that? I guess.
I mean, it's not a black thing. But I get it. I guess it's like, it's just, it can't be any different than talking white, like how can white people claim this proper English and just an intelligent way of speaking?
Yeah.
And then when you're talking black, like, again, normally white and black things were created where it just seemed like polar opposites.
Right.
Even when maybe it wasn't, but in
Dark
my mind,
and light, evil versus good. Yeah.
Like if I talk white, that means I'll get hired for a job, therefore successful.
Yeah.
Whatever.
And I have a white name, Ian, so I'm not worried about. Yep. You talked about that.
But when people say that, it's like, what? Like, no one says you talk so whatever culture, so Pakistani.
Yeah.
Oh, you talk so Indian.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, you really... No, unless they got an accent, where it's just like, oh, you got an Australian accent. But that's not what they're saying.
Okay, what if it was they didn't speak like that, but they could do the accent?
What I think, if it wasn't such a ignorant, degrading thing...
Yeah.
When you hear it, I think it would be cooler. I don't think it should affect people, honestly, but I think it does because I think it was used in such a degrading way.
Yeah.
And maybe it feels that way to those people.
That's when it becomes appropriation, when it's more of a degradation instead of celebration.
Well, just you sound like this.
Yeah.
You sound like this. It's like.
But like you sound like you're from London is not it's the way it's even said.
Do you say you sound like you're from London, or do you sound white?
I agree in some capacities. I think there's different levels of intelligence, but you're talking about when someone might dumb themselves down, which I can relate to. Someone might dumb themselves down to
Fit
not.
in.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah. You do that because you get ostracized.
Yeah, yeah.
And you end up alone, and you're like, that ain't worth it.
Yeah, I'm not going to be that different.
Yeah.
Because then I have to either explain myself or people are so... Even so, she was explaining a situation at the grocery store when a white old lady was like, oh my God, like, let me touch your hair. Let me touch your hair. Yeah. And it's like, that's why you don't want to be different too. It's like, I'm not an animal. That's what she was saying.
I'm not, but it's, I don't think the people that do that think of that's the feeling that somebody could get.
Yeah.
Again, when those words were used in video that we see, when a white person does that just takes you back to where you... And normally the white person doing it, if they're older, they lived in a time where they could.
Yeah. Where they're like, that's me accepting. There was a time
I wouldn't
in my
say
life,
this accept. I think
maybe
they're
in
just...
their mind.
It's just normal. It's just normalized. Like, you are no less than this. So it's kind of... It's not... I'm not saying that you are anymore, but it's... I'm still going to do what I want.
Yeah.
Where it's like... I think it's that. I think they're just not used to interacting with black people in that way. Just like in the movies that we've seen, the older generation, they're so used to black people being merchandise. That was a thing. And if you grew up where your mom or your grandmother was a slave owner at one point, right? Mm-hmm. Like our grandparents.
Right.
Their grandparents might have been actual slave owners or slaves.
Yeah, we don't know. We don't know who was running around in the cloaks.
You know, when my family was like, look at that white lady. You know what I mean? Yeah. At some point, a white lady hooked up with somebody who was ancestors.
Yeah.
And again, it wasn't that far away.
Yeah.
So
and that's the craziest thing. To be like, oh my God, look at the white person in the black group. Or
some white person randomly just... Yeah. And everybody was like, all right. And then this. And that's why I think that's cool.
Yeah, and then we were looking at the photo together, and it's like, look at her, look at grandma.
It's like, who's that lady? Well, that's your great grandmother. That's my grandmother. I'm like, cool. The white lady's our grandmother.
I know, but the fact that it's something to point out, it is something different, right? You point out the things that are different, and I think it's a world that I have not been exposed to before now, and realizing it's been ignorant. But I don't feel shame about it. It's just where you grow. You know, you grow up where you grow up. You seek the things you seek.
My mind, it's like people miss out on getting to experience these different cultures. And I when I was looking up stuff, because when I was like, I never realized what like the cool parts of being in an interracial relationship is that you do get to try each other's cultures. And he talked about something like they talked about color blindness, where if you're like, oh, we don't really see that we're white and black. We're just in love.
I read about that.
There's a part of us that really loves being who we are.
Yeah.
And we wouldn't change it.
Yeah.
And sometimes that is being white.
Yeah.
That is being black.
Yeah.
But not the bad parts, right? Because we just saw in the Shrinks. Shrinking.
Love it.
The lady next door, and he called her Karen.
Yeah.
And she doesn't even get the joke.
And we all know what that means.
She doesn't even get the joke.
Yeah. She's like, it's Pam.
What are you doing? What are you doing? And it's like, yo, just mind your business. And that's a stereotype that white people can't mind their business.
Yeah.
And black people mind their business.
Yep.
But then there's sometimes where minding your business as a black person, you're not helping other people.
Yeah.
Obviously, you're like, oh, mind your business.
Yeah, right. You're programmed to mind your business.
But then some white people, like his other next door neighbor, can't mind their business. And that causes trouble.
Yep.
Like in the stories of like just people randomly calling a cop. Mm-hmm. Where it's like, oh,
There's
my
a black
gosh,
person
don't.
digging through the trash.
Do you understand? And again, it's cool when it stops a burglary.
Yeah.
But not just a random dude who's digging in the trash.
He looks suspicious.
You know, because he's a big black dude. That's really what she's saying.
And then it's just such a subtle writing. I love the way what Brett Goldstein did it. Whoever wrote it, just go ahead, talk about how the neighborhood's getting, how the neighborhood is evolving, how it's changing. And it's just a subtle line, but it's like, wow, that really does, like, the generation and the color and how it feels and how we've seen things. And also not to blame, like you said, generation, that's how they grew up.
The fact that this used to be illegal to date out of your race. And I saw there was like a film in 2016 that was made.
Do you know when it became legal?
Oh my God. Oh, it was on my phone. I was like, where is it? Oh, it was a case. They went to
Because
court.
that is, I just thought of
They
the
went to
date.
court.
I did not realize the woman could not own a credit card
That's crazy.
until 1974.
They wilding with the just ringing it out. What are they going to do? Women might, just start
They
swiping
couldn't
their.
even have a bank account until the 60s unless their husband gave them permission.
Hey, babe, I'm gonna go to the store. Can I get the
Can I get the
card?
milk? No,
You know, if you're caught, you're gonna be arrested if you have my card. You're not supposed to have that.
you can't. Okay, maybe these once.
Don't be seen with this,
We could recreate that story.
bro. That's crazy. Let's do that.
Let's
We'll
do it.
just
What
make
was the
that.
2016 one you were talking about?
We're just living in a life. Yeah. So it's called Loving, I think, because the case was called Loving versus Virginia.
Wow.
You already know where I'm from. So that's where they would just, that's where they stood up for
That's
the
where we gotta go
interracial
back.
relationships.
We gotta go back and film. We gotta film there.
Yeah. I just feel like there's racist places. The fact that they even fought this case in Virginia, that means that they were racist in Virginia.
Yeah, well, we gotta raise attention, raise awareness.
We're back. Loving in Virginia.
We're back. We're filming. If you're trying to kick us out, we will get you on candid camera.
The date that it was decided was 1967.
Wow, the 60s and the 70s. People were doing some good work in those times. They were getting laws changed. People were making things happen. They were like, what the fuck is this system?
And then they were saying the big part of it was because of the 14th Amendment, which was cool that they even was like, yo, you can't, no, everybody gets treated equal. If white people can marry who they want, you should be able to marry who you want.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or that's equal. Everybody has that right.
I wonder if in the future, however many years in the future, it's going to be the same where people are going to be like, oh my God, gay rights were just legalized then?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
It's not that long ago.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Where it was,
But that's why it was cool. It was cool because it was a win for somebody.
Yeah.
Is a win for us all.
Yeah.
But I think the work is teaching that to everyone. And that's why it was cool seeing the interracial then breaks that down because it's no longer hopefully white and black.
Yeah.
We're just all fucking mixing pot at one point in life.
Yeah. Where this conversation in the future is like, wow, they were having that conversation. They had to have that conversation.
But that affected us growing up.
Yeah.
So I hope it doesn't affect our kids, the kids, everybody out there in the world, the kids that are growing up now. It's like I hope they're like worried about AI and technology.
Yeah, yeah. Did you have a pretty even mix of diverse, like a pretty diverse class?
I would say so. I feel like we had a lot of black people. I felt like.
Yeah.
I feel like it was predominantly white and black, maybe mixed, like 40%, maybe 30% black people.
Okay.
And then we had some Asians, and probably Hispanic people. I don't know what Hispanic, because I'm still learning the word Hispanic. I don't think they were Puerto Rican. I think they were like Mexican.
Yeah.
And we had Taiwanese. We had Japanese. We had my
Wow.
brother's friends growing up. Like they were Asian.
What I remember, two black kids, two black boys.
Guys.
Yep.
How were they? Guys, how were they?
Treated.
Yeah, like were they the stereotypical?
So one
hot black guy that like has a
one Chris Reed, yes, stereotypical fucking hot black guy, football team.
Do you know where he's from?
I don't remember.
I don't sometimes
remember.
people care about that. Were you from the streets?
I don't think he. I don't.
Any
I
new
don't
kid,
know.
right?
Chris,
White, black.
I'll text you, fact check it, and add it in.
Because then it's like, was he in Arizona, Phoenix area? And then it shows what kind of black guy he started out as.
Yeah,
Was he nerdy?
No, he was real cool.
Football player, athlete.
Yeah, athlete. It was real amazing athlete.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Were there jokes? Where
Popular,
it's
like one of the most popular dudes in school.
Was it a school where you can joke? Where you're like, of course, because Chris is black.
Yeah, because Chris is black and he's too. Of course, yeah, he
And
has
Chris is one of the
superior
homies.
genes. Yeah,
Chris is out drinking with everybody.
He was like really good friends with him, Marco Anthony Guzman. Probably because he was a star athlete, he was getting so much praise from everybody. Right, all the white dudes, the dads, whatever, they loved him.
And you
boy.
get love from people.
Yeah, come to our house. We're gonna give you beers and drinks, and we'll
sometimes
take care
you're
of you.
seen as an equal, but then sometimes, again, this is a black thought. Sometimes you're like, am I just the entertainment?
Yeah.
Am I just the help? right? But then it becomes a reference to slavery,
Yeah.
where they're just like, while you're entertaining, while you're bouncing that ball, he should stick to basketball and just bounce the ball and not speak. When you hear things like that, you're like, what? People think like that?
I just thought it was the coolest because he was older, that I got to connect with Chris Reed at a table at a friend's random bar mitzvah. Like, it was so cool. And so when you say being entertaining, I was like, oh yeah, I was allured by him. Like, he was alluring because he was entertaining, but it was so refreshing just to have a conversation where I was like, oh, he's so smart. Yeah. He's so intelligent. He's so cool in so many different ways. He so gets it. He would like talk to me about my boy problems, and it was just so easy.
And I think it's that part. Like, you just see him as a human.
Yeah.
Rather than, but it's the feeling that some people could get. Like, even being questioned, being a girl, it's like, why is this guy talking to me? He's probably wants me. The fact that pops in your brain, or somebody has to deal with that. It takes you out of the moment. It takes you not really being connected.
Yeah.
Or you're connected, and then someone ruins that by betraying your trust.
Yeah.
It's or
someone walks up and they're like, ooh, what's going on here? And it's like, okay. And then I don't know if there was something said, and then it's like, oh.
Just like in the show. It's like, is it because he's black and he's an older guy, or anyone? But the fact that you even have to think that can mean something else. I think it's the fact that society has thought other things when they weren't supposed to. Like, why? Oh, well, I just thought, black man, and like the fact that people say things.
Are you okay?
You're like, what?
Yeah, just want to check in, make sure you're feeling safe. What? Yeah.
I think that's why it's hard to spot racism or being prejudiced or, stereotypes.
She talked about the microaggressions in that too, where it's like the hair thing, where it's like this passive aggressive little, oh my God, that's different. Yeah. Like, that must be hard to maintain.
When I'm like, when we talked about it, the way putting certain words and asking certain questions, the way it makes people feel, whether like they're trying to do that or not, it's the fact that they're feeling like this. Yeah. And I don't think people understand that.
I don't think so either.
And then some people just don't care.
Do you think there might be something to what if they do care or even want to care, but because they've been living in this pattern and this habit and this way of belief or whatever and for so long, that it's kind of, maybe they might feel so foolish to just be like, oh, I didn't have to think that way for that long, and then kind of like what we do when we resist change for anything.
I think it's tough. And I think a lot of people don't understand the why, just like we've been talking about recently.
Yeah. Why should I change? Why should I think of that?
I felt that in the military culture.
Yeah.
Hey guys, we can't be saying these jokes, and come on, they're just jokes.
Yeah.
And it's like, guys, we got to be censored. And it's like, oh, why can't we just say other jokes? Is the real thing, but the feeling is like, but then you realize, like, I don't want to hurt or offend anybody.
Yeah.
And then sometimes it's like, don't be fucking soft.
It's like, so maybe even get to know your audience first before you're like, I'm going to tell these jokes, or even know where it's coming from, why you're saying it. Is it like any joke is on the table? I think we both agree on that. Like, you can talk about cancer, you can talk about things, but like, make it funny. Make it worth the joke.
I think we talk about being aware.
Yep.
It's cool if you know that you're going to tell a joke that's
going to offend people.
But why not put it in a clever way?
Yes, exactly.
Hey, just not too long ago, I was in my boyfriend's area, he's black. I was like, oh. And then it's like, oh, she's aware that people don't like when. But because she's aware, she gets away with it. Because she knows is a thing. That's not how it was.
Right. You can call it out, and therefore it's like, oh, okay, proceed. If you're aware of what
that's all
I
people
might
need.
think.
Like, I think that's all black people really want. I wouldn't even speak for black people. What people
I stand for all black people
want. Like, right? I think white people want to be understood too. Right? I do think there's the ladies that are fucking snitching or concerned. I wish they were actually I just really was concerned about people. But then it's like, why?
Yeah, I was like snitching. Yeah. When they call the cops.
Yeah, when they call the cops. Yeah. For stupid reasons. Right? Like why? Did you really think? And then that's the conversation that we need to fix those people. But again, they don't even see anything wrong.
Right.
So they're gonna end life. They're gonna end up they always feel like they're not in wrong, and that's the issue. It's like, do you understand what this creates when you do this or when you say things like this?
And I wonder why it does become so, like, overly frustrating sometimes when people choose to stay in their ignorance. Because I assume it is oppressive, right? That's part of it. But even giving someone the power to make me feel smaller me, obviously, as a white person, just putting in context of something I feel smaller about, why do I let someone's opinion make me feel that way?
And I think that's what, in my mind, like, anybody has to do, where you can't let other people be able to affect you.
Yeah.
But when you're a kid,
Yeah.
you really didn't have any control of how you
yeah.
ended up and
your
what
brain is
affected
getting
you.
programmed by what is happening.
Your parent is not talking about those things. My mom was telling me, being black, the fact that we're being taught of how to deal with a cop. And I only say that because I don't know if every parent says that. I'm not saying that white families don't. They do talk about authorities.
Yeah.
But they don't say, like, hey, they say to us, hey, you are different. I need you to know that. And I'm like, you could say, why did you put that poison in my mind? Sure. But I really thought, I was like, yeah, I might need that.
Yeah.
And I'm aware, right? But every time I get pulled over, because and I never felt like it was because I was black.
Yeah. You're like, I speed sometimes. Yeah.
I'm speeding half the time.
Yeah.
So when I get pulled over, I'm like, fuck, okay. But I know I'm in the wrong.
Yeah.
And then
you don't get defensive, perhaps, right?
No, why would I? This dude is doing his job.
I don't know.
Or girl.
Maybe because your belief is not, it's not because I'm black, and maybe that's where the defensiveness does.
Well, it could be. It could be.
It
could be. But I'm looking at. I do think when people get defensive, again, if I was a cop, again, that's my job, so it would be different for me. Mm-hmm. I would have to treat it different. I would have to be like, look, I know I'm going to pull over ignorant people on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah.
Oh, because I'm white, right? I know a white person can say that just like a black person can be like, oh, homie, right? I know that. I got to prepare for that. Hey, look, I just pull you over. It's not anything about race. I pulled you over for something else.
Right.
Now, how you're acting is one way.
Right.
But I'm not going to judge you.
I'm not going to play this. You're going to play it by the race card. Yeah.
But some people are really scared.
Mm-hmm. Right.
They are scared for their life when they see a black people in a car 3 deep rather than 3 white guys in a car 3 deep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It looks different. It looks like they're going to golfing versus they're coming from, like, but to some people it does.
Sure.
And I think that's the part where it's like,
because of programming, right?
Yeah.
Like, you're seeing 3 white dudes in a car. Yeah, you're like, oh, they're wearing their polos. They're going golfing. Yeah, it's Jason Bateman, Will Arnett, and Sean Hayes.
Right.
Cool.
What people wear now gets associated with wearing a do-rag. Is a black thing.
Yeah, low rider, loud music.
But like, do-rags are for the hair and the texture.
I know, and I learned that too.
But then you have normally, if black people grew up with white homies or white friends or just hanging out with white people, sometimes there's a story of a white homie in the group just wearing a do-rag. And it's like, it's not really for your hair texture.
Yeah. Like, it's
so weird because it's for hair. And so even when it's like thugged kind of appearance, like these guys are caring about, don't get me wrong, like there's thug related things that could kind of get a bad rep. Like baseball caps get a fucking bad rep because gang members do wear it. But it's not a black thing.
Yeah.
It's just it's a hood thing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because there's, and I think that like being from a hood or speaking like that local area speaks is not a black thing because there are Spanish gangs. There are Asian gangs. There are Japanese gangs.
Right.
They just speak slang.
Right.
Depending on what that culture is.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's where it's like, it's not a black thing. Can you not give us that? Where just like being intelligent is not a white thing. Can we not just give all white people that? Because if you talk like
and then if you talk
a different
more country,
white
then
person,
it's
now you're a country
now
hillbilly.
You're a hillbilly.
You could be a hillbilly.
You're dumb. You think your intelligence is you're automatically
and
lowered.
Black people have words, so I'm like, it doesn't. Yeah. But you don't say that. You don't say that out loud to people.
Yeah.
You don't say you sound like you're from the trailer house.
Yeah, I've had talking like this versus talking like that. They're not gonna think you're talking white.
Yeah.
You're right.
We watch Ozark. They all these white people have a different accent. So it's like, what is white, by the way?
Yeah.
Is that English? Is that
what?
Cockney? Is that Australian? All of them are white people.
And then you have the same ethnicity, that can speak the exact same way with a British accent that's different skin color, and it doesn't.
There's a New York black dude that talk different.
Yeah.
Is it hood? And again, that's where when you break it down, it feels so ignorant.
Yeah,
and people would be like
talking black. Yeah.
Because Key and Peele talk about it. Black Jeff.
Black Jeff. Yep.
But if majority of black people are moving this way, and that's why we're saying it. I just have a lot of black friends that move like that talk like that. They don't have to be from Maryland to talk like this.
Yeah, it's just been part of it's
If a black person talked like they were
You're
from the
learning that.
valley,
That's
then
the
you're a
way.
valley
That's
girl.
what you're around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wish we would change the words to more fitting and accurate things.
Even the
Like
words
you
that
talk
we do
hood or you
say.
talk
The phrases we pick up from other people, the things of like
Tad.
like even saying that's fair. I know I learned that's fair from someone, and I was like, I love that. I love saying that's
Yeah,
that's
we be
fair.
taking it.
Yeah, I'll take
Cool.
Yeah, I'll take
We'll make
the
it
little
our own
things.
too. Mm-hmm. We make up our own too.
We make up our own. We use it 90 days.
90 days.
Not our own, but
How long you? Yeah. I mean, but he's not using it.
yeah, we reuse our own phrases as much as possible.
Braden would.
She's a dancer.
She's a dancer.
Quitting vaping really is tough.
Bro, let's talk about that.
I don't want to talk too long about it, but I'm glad we're filming today again because we plan to do it Monday. Post it Monday. I've been struggling with a tooth infection that has led to strep throat, that has led to a lot of
She's got wisdom teeth coming in.
I quit vaping 5 days ago, and I air quote because there have been some
hits.
Yeah, maybe hits. I think I've been up to like 2, 3, 4.
Look at main camera.
2, 3, 4 a day, and it feels lighter. I did wake up today, and my chest felt better. I'm going through this like withdrawal state, and it's cool to be able to talk about it and not feel shame about it, and know that I've been through worse.
Can't even see it.
Just
want to keep it here.
In terms of like detoxing myself, so it's an interesting thing, and I wrote down on my goals: quit vaping in February, and right before February hit, it was like we're gonna just start now.
We're gonna keep you guys updated.
Yeah, we'll keep you posted on all of it and see.
I think it's cool.
Just next video.
I mean, I think it's cool on my perspective, on my side of it, because it's like I know it's not easy, and it's kind of I think that's relatable to what we were talking about with interracial stuff and culture, because it was just like understanding more just where someone's come from in their past, just like the interracial relationship. It's like I just want to know how it feels. I don't have to understand fully. I just need to know.
Yeah, I don't want to be ignorant, and I think that's really what we're getting to with everything is becoming. When we don't want to be ignorant, then doing something about that, and not just saying I don't want to be ignorant. So let's, let's actually look something up. And
but if you don't have those moments happen, right, because you only have 2 black people, like you're not at fault for that. Yeah, you know, because then the dumb thing is like, all the white people just go find a black mentor. Like no, like I mean, but that'd be dope. Like just find an interracial. Like that's what the cool part you get with interracial relationships. Because if you stick in your own race, then like you only stick in your own groups, and that's cool. But that's what I think. It's not messed up that people don't do this or understand this or mingle with other cultures. I think they just miss out, and they're not really missing out because hopefully they're just enjoying whatever they're experiencing.
Yeah, I think it's if you're seeking it out. I sought it out when at the George Floyd. I think that's when a lot of white people probably did their research. They were doing there's jokes about white people doing that. Like, okay, now everyone read up on their books. Now, like, I get it. We all did a lot of that, and I felt so empowered. Like, I'm gonna interview my black friend Lacey, and even that alone, people were like, now don't just go seek out your black friend and talk to them about all the advice. Get it on your own. So I'm like, okay, I'll read the books. But no one told me to really do that. It was like, I think some people were just as fine being like, I'm not doing a thing different. I'm not going to go read books about being ignorant. I'm not going to go read books about their perspective or what. And I just felt like I wanted to. I didn't want to be ignorant, I suppose. And I know I still am, I'm sure, in so many ways.
I think it's cool. I think when the moment presents itself, I think just see it as a curiosity moment to be like, oh my gosh, this is something I would love to learn more about. Because if you're not seeing black people be affected, and again, this goes for any race or any group of people. When we saw the drag show, it's like I know what it feels like to dance around. And to be like, that's so cool that drag culture gets to experience that. Yeah. But I don't know how shameful it might feel sometimes or how whatever. Yeah. But it's just realizing that, taking that extra step and being like, but only once you've heard that this is the thing. Mm-hmm. Just like me hearing that, like, oh, quitting vaping is having feelings like a withdrawal. Yeah. Where I'm like, I'm not saying, okay, babe.
It's not that bad.
Nick,
No.
I know people that use the patch. You can do this, and you're like, no, it really feels. And I'm like, then that's how it feels.
Yeah.
You don't try to. Well, I think it's just being aware of those moments if you're around the people and they're talking.
Yeah, I don't need you to minimize it. I don't need you to say that it's something that you couldn't possibly know, because it's just you're invalidating.
Sometimes it's understand that I might not fully understand, but that doesn't mean I can't.
Yeah.
Like if a black person's like, hey, I don't like it when people touch my hair, even though you like it when people touch your hair, just know that it might be different for this person.
Yeah.
And then that
just
comes,
know that. Just know
that comes with questions.
Yeah.
How does that feel when
yeah.
you don't like it because when I was at the festival culture, me and Malcolm were talking about it. When they're like, when you're having fun and someone's like, hey, you want a head massage? And I'm like, if that's what they do here. And it felt amazing.
Yeah, you can't be rolling
but it wasn't
and
racist.
not have a head massage.
It wasn't racist.
Yeah, you're like, touch everything.
I was like, yes, please.
Yes,
this is a part of the culture.
Yeah.
But
that's a part of the environment you're in, where it's like everyone might be doing that.
Black people can be like, oh, that's white people culture.
Yeah.
But it's not a bad culture.
That's festival white people stuff.
But it sounds offensive.
Where it's like,
but it's not. White people
you're like,
love
I chose to embrace it.
I'm like, I love white people culture. If this is what they got,
if they're gonna give me a head massage, sure.
And I think that's when it's cool when black people just at the function and everybody's mingling.
Wow, I didn't even realize just now, because I feel like I give you a lot of head massages.
Bro, it's amazing.
Okay.
I love that. Like, why? Who doesn't love that?
I've never once questioned.
Again, it's not the hey, like it's just it's how people come off too.
Yeah.
Like if you was their significant other, but that's not what's happening. It is a random stranger that you don't know.
Yeah.
It's like that guy that we walked past in Hollywood that pinched me and grabbed me.
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck that he's black.
Yeah.
I don't like being pinched. I'm like, yo.
Yeah, you've just invaded my space.
Weirdo.
Yeah, you've invaded.
I don't think, hey, my brother, pinch me more. You my fellow black. No.
Yeah.
You fucking weirdo.
Yeah. Thank you so much for getting close to me and putting your hands on me in a way that I did not ask for.
I think it's when you treat it different sometimes.
Yeah.
Like when black people are treated different.
Yeah.
Like, don't talk to me different because I'm black. Just like, don't talk to me different because don't even try to match my accent. Unless you're stealing like the way we steal. Like where it's authentic. Where it's like, yo, can I use that word? Where it's like, yo, the word
where
bull
like,
is not.
I love how you said that. I love
can
how
I
you
use
said
bull?
Can I use that?
Because they use that in New Jersey. They use that somewhere.
Yeah.
Can I use son? Just do it. You don't ask to do that.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, if someone hears you talking a certain way, people might be like, why you talk like that?
Like in Euphoria, when, what's his name, is like, I'm gonna go out, and it's like, is that okay? Like,
I think the fact that it sounds like it could be black, I think that's why I don't like the words that we use for it, because white people talk like that.
Yeah.
They're just in the hood.
Right.
And everybody speaks like that. And it's just it's a
where it's
dialect.
like Fez grew up like that.
It's a dialect.
Yeah.
So then but you wouldn't ask, hey, can I? Because then that becomes weird.
It's so authentic. You don't. It's like you don't question it. The only reason you question it is because you feel like you should ask that question.
Yeah.
That's it. But then you're listening to it and you're like, that feels authentic.
My brother, Brett.
Yeah.
And I told you about the moment where he's like, how do you dap? How do you dap?
You're like,
right? Dapping is weird. Handshakes are weird.
Yeah.
How people embrace each other is weird.
It's all,
Across the pond, they probably kiss each other on the cheeks.
Yeah.
That's not a white thing. That's not a black thing. But black people might see it and be like, oh, that's so... You get kissed on the... There's probably other white people out there that are like, nah, we not doing that.
Yeah.
It's not a black thing, though.
Yeah. Yeah. Just the fact that my grandparents kiss me on the lips, and it's like...
Yeah.
Like, I know some families
That's
are
different.
like that.
That's different.
I know some families
I just didn't do
like
it mine,
No,
I don't know. When you're a kid, it's cool, but at what point... And I remember people talking about that on social media.
Yeah,
at
like, what point when you grow up is it like, okay, that's...
Why you got kissing each other on the lips?
And then I question my own self, too, where I'm like, I'm just going to go with it.
Is that sexualized?
Like, yeah,
I don't know.
It's both grandparents, though. It's not just like one.
But people in different cultures talk about that differently.
Yeah.
Right? We talk about spanking.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think in black culture, like, oh yeah, everybody getting whooped. But it's like, that's not true. Sometimes, like, talking does happen. It's not always a whooping. But in certain white cultures, it's, let me give Timmy a time. And Timmy's yelling. And then that's the ongoing joke, especially the gamer. Shut up, Martha. And it's like, yo, not every white. But it's weird when you see your white homie get away with murder. When you're like, yo,
Mom, I'm fucking dating right now, bitch. Get the fuck out of my room. And it's like,
my mom would kill me.
okay.
And not saying there's not white moms out there that don't. There are white moms that are killing their kids.
Yeah, there's white moms that's like, oh,
they're
this
literally
Xbox is
killing
going
them.
out
Yo,
the window.
you think
Okay,
you got the
think I'm gonna
wrong
stand up
one.
for that? Oh, not tonight.
But sometimes, in some depictions, and it is because they have a black friend that they saw something. They're like, oh my gosh, your kid. We saw Miss Allen.
Yeah. Yep.
Like, I don't think anybody, any culture, right? You just see a disciplined kid, and you're like, if your kid is a brat, I don't care if you're white, Hispanic, Asian, you're just like,
most kids are.
me.
You're like, most kids are brats. So Miss
Teach me your
Allen
ways.
is like the queen of all. She's like the whisperer. She's like the Shadowfax whisperer of all kids. And she's like just has this power.
I think every culture has that powerful older lady who's like the community.
Who's like the
grandma.
Gandalf,
yeah,
the wise.
Yes.
The wise.
I would love to see a film with all different race, and then it's a cool. You know, there's a mix and match. There's a lot of assortments, trail mix. Where you just mixing them. That's what it is.
Yeah, it's like Tex-Mex.
When you get different ethnicities, it becomes a vibe. It becomes a wholesome vibe.
Yeah.
Not saying that because the white vibe is a lot of films are that, right? We watched Dunkirk. We saw they didn't have any people of color in Pinocchio, but where were they at? They were in Italy. I don't expect to see people of color.
Yep, and it was it was also stop motion, so it was a very small cast, so to speak.
Coraline,
and also the war.
They did have black people, so I was like, that's cool.
Yep.
But I look for stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because little kids growing up
are like, is that possible? Whatever.
YB's grandmother was like, why born? You know, that's not a Miss Allen, but it's like, oh, that's somebody's grandma.
Yeah.
And it's cool when you see that. Because you're like, yo, my grandma is just like.
I think that's also that's the importance of art. That's the importance of history. It's the importance of education. Is just being aware
of Congress,
what's happened,
whatever.
What's
not
possible.
Even, but like, just people that really have an open mind.
Yeah. If you want to open a business, if you want to start your own adventure, like whatever your possibility is, it's important to see that someone has done it in the past. I think. You're just talking about like supporting black owned.
That was different. That was a different vibe because it was black owned.
Because it was black owned, It was very
like they set it up the way they wanted. It wasn't a 7-Eleven vibe.
Yeah, it wasn't the same chain of everything that you see where it's no love. There's no. It felt so nice. It felt so like intentional. Everything was placed intentionally with love, with care, with consideration. Felt very special, and then the fact that they were there, both of them in the shop
with their family.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
Yeah, it felt different. And it felt so different in a way that you had to say something because you appreciated it.
Yeah.
And that's a special thing. Regardless if it's black owned, if it's I love that architecture, if it's this different thing.
Uniqueness.
Yeah. Whatever it is, your style, cuz I can see an interior design that's just like I don't know who did that, but I just appreciate that interior design.
Just like we saw in Pinocchio, when we see the person, and then when we see their other work, it's like I love that you are who you are.
Yeah.
Sometimes that is I love that you are black and you took from black culture
Yeah.
but you don't have to be black to appreciate black things.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's when it's like that. I don't believe in cultural appropriation as long as you're giving.
Yeah.
You know, when you do it right, people ain't gonna complain.
Yeah,
there are gonna be people that complain, but
it's not going to affect you because you know your why. You know where your intention is coming from. Where it's like I'm not too pressed about it. So I did include for my call to action, which I'll post in the video and in the socials and all of that. I am going to include that link, and we'll have black-owned businesses. We'll also put the petition for the Crown Act. I think these are the type of conversations that it would be cool to hear. So I do like that sentiment. So, yeah, from our family to yours.
From our family to yours.
Let your light shine.
Fucking fucked up.
Okay, and take two.
Take two.
From our family to yours. Let your light shine.
Keep up, guys.
We love you.
We love you.